Hello, everyone. Hello, hello. Welcome to the Institute for Integrative Nutrition. I am so happy to see all of you rolling into our session tonight. Hello. So many actually familiar names rolling through. So glad that you are all here with us. So, for those who are new to me, my name is Sherry Vitale. I am IIN Senior Health and Nutrition Manager, and I am elated to share that I will be your host for today's conversation with our very special guest. So, again, I'm so glad to see all of you joining us. And on behalf of the entire team here at IIN, thank you for being here and for choosing to spend your time with us this evening, this afternoon, this morning, depending on wherever you are in the world. Now, as many of you know, May is Mental Health Awareness Month. So, in honor of that, today's session is all about expanding the way we think about our mental well being and exploring how we can really support it in holistic, empowering, and practical ways. So, before we really kick things off, I would love to invite you into the chat. And honestly, so many of you are there already. But if you haven't shared already, we would love to know where in the world you're tuning in from. As you can see, we have quite a global community here. We would also love to know what's one area of your mental well-being that you are really looking to support right now. Maybe it's your focus, your mental clarity, could be your mood and how you really navigate emotions. Maybe it's your energy levels. Maybe it's something else entirely. And I would also love to know, we are a health coaching school, so I'd love to know where the health coaches are tonight. If you're a health coach, let us know. Maybe drop a one in the chat with your response or in addition to your response so we can see. I'm going to hop in the chat. Look at all those ones coming through. Hello to our coaches. The chat is moving so fast, friends. I really want to recognize and call out so many of you, but I saw brain fog come through, reducing stress. Someone wants more. Jody would like more information on emotional regulation. We have Caroline from Vermont. I see better sleep, which of course is very much related to our mental well-being. Jada says hormonal depression, OCD, anxiety tendencies, fatigue and depression, better sleep. Alicia is going to be a health coach soon. Congratulations. Karen says stress with teens as a parent, how to handle. Yeah, I'm here for that conversation too. Denise is a coach from Virginia Beach. Hello. Mary's in the process of becoming a health coach, interested in navigating daily life and communication. So many incredible topics, so many incredible things rolling through in the chat here. And this will really help guide and inform our conversation today. So thank you to each and every one of you. We'll try our best to weave some of this into our time together. And continue dropping insights into the chat, saying hello. And then for any questions that you have for Dr. Amen, please drop those into the Q&A box section, just so we can make sure that we can pull those apart. So again, for those new to me, I'm Sherry Vitale, the Senior Health and Nutrition Manager here at IIN, and I am so excited for today's conversation. Our session today, Holistic Tools for Mental Health, is centered around a really powerful idea, and that is that mental health is not just about our thoughts, right? It's about the health of our brain and the health of our body. And I am sure it is not lost on so many of you that our brain and body are so intricately connected. So together tonight, with the help, of course, of our special guest, we will explore why mental health is brain health, the brain-body connection, how it influences almost everything from our mood to our focus to our overall well-being. Also, simple science-backed habits that support mental clarity and emotional resilience. And then my hope is that we will all walk away from this session tonight with practical tools that we can use for ourselves, or maybe for all of you that are health coaches here, that you can use with your clients, maybe loved ones, friends, to really support the health of our brain, to navigate stress, mindset, behavior change. I've seen TBI come through a few times, so maybe we can touch on that a little bit today. So many topics within the realm of mental health. So, whether you're here for your own personal growth or to support others in a coaching capacity, our intention is that you leave with both insight and those actionable takeaways that will carry you, well beyond this session. All right. So I'm going to get to the part that you all are clearly here for, and I would love to introduce our guest today, one of our own beloved visiting faculty members, Dr. Daniel Amen, who's here with us. And I would first like to share a little bit more about Dr. Amen. I have a bio here. The Washington Post called Dr. Daniel Amen the most popular psychiatrist in America. He is a former infantry medic and board certified child and adult psychiatrist who trained at the Walter Reed Army Medical Center in Washington, D.C. He is the CEO and founder of Amen Clinics with 11 locations nationwide and home to the world's largest brain imaging database for psychiatry with nearly 300,000, that's incredible, SPECT scans on patients from 155 countries. Dr. Amen is a 12-time New York Times bestselling author. He's wrote so many books, including the books Change Your Brain, Change Your Life. In addition, Dr. Amen has published over 90 scientific articles and has led groundbreaking brain research on active and former NFL players, childhood trauma, negativity bias, reverse brain aging, obesity in the brain, and predicting treatment responses. His PBS specials and top-ranked podcast have inspired millions. And with over 10 million social media followers, his mission is bold: to end mental illness by creating a revolution in brain health. And to that point, Dr. Amen is formally working with the White House Faith Office on creating a national brain health revolution. So incredible, Dr. Amen. And at the heart of his work is a simple but transformative idea. When you care for your brain, you can transform your life. And we here at IIN, we believe so deeply in his work and your work, Dr. Amen, and your mission. So, Dr. Amen, it is a pleasure to have you here with us today. Welcome. Please say hello to our community and maybe anything that's on your heart, your mind in this moment.
Hi, Sherry. So nice to see you again.
Yeah.
Hey, everybody. Very excited to be with you. I'm a huge fan of IIN and feels like I've been teaching there for decades.
Yeah. And that might be true. I know. I'm trying to think decades. Yeah, we are so honored. So honored. And Dr. Amen, of course, as I mentioned, is visiting faculty, and he has a lecture, an amazing lecture in our health coach training program. And I'm sure many of you, I see some things rolling through the chat that many of you do remember Dr. Amen from the program. Well, again, we are going to dive into our conversation. And for everyone joining us live, as I mentioned, please, if you can find it's the Q&A box to drop any of your questions in for Dr. Amen. You can drop any of them in there, and we will be weaving them perhaps into our conversation and saving some dedicated time to answer a few of your questions. All right, everyone. So, Dr. Amen, let's hop into it by really looking at the foundation here. And you famously say that mental health is really brain health. And interestingly, a lot of times mental health treatment doesn't actually look at the brain itself, which that was a real aha moment for me when you share that. And so I would love to hear your thoughts around that. And then really what becomes possible for us when we start to view mental health through the lens of brain health.
So no one wants a mental illness.
Yeah.
When I decided to be a psychiatrist in 1979, so 48 years ago, that's really crazy to think about. Someone I loved tried to kill herself, and I took her to see a wonderful psychiatrist. And I came to realize if he helped her, which he did, it wouldn't just help her. It would help her children. It would help her grandchildren as they would be shaped by someone who is happier and more stable. So 48 years ago, I fell in love with psychiatry, the only medical specialty that virtually never looks at the organ it treats.
Right.
And I knew it was wrong. I knew it would change. I just had no idea I'd be part of the change. And 1991, so I'm a psychiatrist for almost a decade. I started looking at the brain with this study called Brain SPECT, SPECT, imaging. SPECT is a nuclear medicine study that looks at blood flow, activity, and mitochondrial function, or the little energy powerhouses in
Yeah.
the brain. And it literally changed everything in my life. Um, if you date any of my children, I'm going to scan you because I want to see what your brain looks like. It changed the way the time I go to bed, the food I eat, the gadgets I use. I mean, literally everything. And the big lesson from what is now almost 300,000 scans is most psychiatric illnesses are not mental health problems.
Right.
They're brain health problems. Get your brain healthy and your mind will follow. And that one idea just revolutionized my life, my practice. When I told my dad I wanted to be a psychiatrist, he asked me why I didn't want to be a real doctor, why I wanted to be a nut doctor and hang out with nuts all day long. So my dad would never have gotten Father of the Year. Um, but he reflected what most people think,
Mm-hmm.
which is you're weak or you're crazy if you have a mental health issue. So nobody wants that. It's shaming, it's stigmatizing, and it's off-putting. But everybody wants a better brain. So what if mental health was really brain health? If we changed the message, we dramatically improve our outcomes.
Yeah.
So when you think of it as mental health, diagnoses are made with symptom clusters with no biological data, often in 7-minute office visits.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and our outcomes are not better than they were in the 1950s. We should be ashamed about that. 25% of the adult American population is on a psychiatric drug. That's crazy. 27% of all doctor visits, someone's being prescribed a benzo, which are addictive and increase your risk of dementia. And I think spending more money on this current paradigm is only going to get us deeper into trouble. But when you think of it as brain health, you have to eat better. So this is our partnership with IIN,
Yeah.
right? You think of it as brain health. If your brain is 2% of your body's weight, but uses 20 to 30% of the calories you consume, a fast food diet goes with more anxiety. A
Right.
fast food diet increases your level of inflammation and internal stress. If you don't eat right, you won't think right, you won't feel right, and you won't act right. If you think of it as brain health, well, then alcohol is not a health food. Marijuana is not innocuous. There are going to be some people who are asking about psilocybin.
Yeah.
Doesn't really make your brain look better. Um, you have to exercise and you have to know, we'll talk about this, the 11 risk factors that steal your brain's health
Okay.
and eliminate them. Because I'm sort of watching some of the questions come in.
Yeah.
And the way you prevent Alzheimer's disease and depression is you prevent all the risk factors that damage your brain. So when we think of this as brain health, it
Mhm.
all comes down to this one question, Sherry, that you should ask yourself every day.
Yeah.
Is what you're doing now good for your brain or bad for it? And does it make the world a better place? If
Mm.
you can answer that question with information and love of yourself, love of your family, love of the reason God put you on earth, you're just going to make such better decisions and you're going to be happier, more purposeful, more effective.
I love that. It's like before we do anything, will this support my brain? Will it not? And this brings me to your concept of brain envy, right? You mentioned having brain envy, and I love that so much. And so, how can we all have brain envy? What can we do there? How can we really learn to
Well,
love?
that's why looking at the brain is so important. I have 11 clinics, and people tell us over and over again,
Yeah.
I'm no longer exercising for my butt. I'm
Yeah.
exercising for my brain.
Yeah.
And it's so funny. I just saw my mom, who's 94.
Oh,
And when I first started imaging people, I scanned everybody I knew, including
right.
her. And she had a stunningly beautiful brain. And it fit her life, 7 kids, now 58 grandchildren, great grandchildren. She knows everybody's birthday. She knows what's going on in everybody's life. I mean, she's still sharp as can be. And then the following week, I scanned myself, and it wasn't healthy because I played football in high school and had meningitis as a young soldier, and I had bad habits. And when I saw her brain and then I saw mine, well, I wanted mine to be as healthy as her brain envy. I always say Freud was wrong. Penis envy is not the cause of anybody's problem. I haven't seen it once in 48 years since I decided to be a psychiatrist. The only organ where size matters is your brain.
Yes.
And so, brain envy is you just want a better brain. And since the moment I scanned myself, I've wanted to make mine better. And it all comes down to that question is what I'm doing now, staying up late or going to bed early, good for my brain or bad for it. I mean, I don't drink, so that's not a temptation for me, but
Right.
is having these 3 donuts good for my brain? No. Or
Right.
bad for me? Yes. And so, and some of the people listening, they're going to go, oh, well, you can't have this and you can't have that. That's a deprivation mindset. It's like, oh, no, you get to have energy, memory, passion, purpose, good decisions, love, connection, as opposed to I can't have this mountain of fries or soda or um, whatever.
Yeah.
And, one question, it's a great IIN question, is do you love food that loves you back?
Hmm.
Because you're in a relationship. I don't know if you've ever been in a bad relationship. I certainly have. And
Yeah.
I'm damn sure not doing it with food.
Right. Right. I love that. Does the food that I'm eating love me back? And I love how you mentioned that trade-off. So many people in the comments, we mentioned all the things like, what do you want to work on when it comes to your mental well-being, the stress, the brain fog, all of those things when we think about our future state, when it comes to the choices that we're making can be so powerful. And I want to talk a little bit too about this idea of brain reserve and related to that, what is it? What kinds of factors, even like those early factors I've heard you mention in utero factors, can impact our brain reserve? And what can we really do to protect or deplete it, to have that healthy brain scan like your mother had?
Every day you're making your reserve better or you're making it worse with your habits. So
Yeah.
it's the extra tissue function that you have to deal with whatever stresses come your way. And it starts even before you're born, how your mom or dad ate, the what cigarettes or drugs, alcohol they used. Um, when little girls are born, they're born actually with all the eggs in their ovaries they will
Mhm.
ever have. And so when a mother is pregnant with a girl, she's actually carrying the genetic material for her grandbabies.
Mhm.
And so we need to educate girls that whatever you do, your habits, your food, your level of happiness and stress is always turning on or off certain genes in your ovaries that make illness more or less likely in you, but also in your babies and grandbabies. And when you really get your mind around that thought, it's like a holy smokes moment. It's like, it's not about me.
Absolutely.
It's ultimately about generations of
Yes.
me. And the idea of brain reserve is really crystallized in this one idea. We take two soldiers, put
Okay.
them in the same tank, and expose them to the same blast, same angle, same forces, everything. One of them walks away unharmed. The
Mhm.
other one's permanently disabled. Why?
Mhm.
It's the brain they brought into the accident
Yeah.
that makes the biggest difference. And so it's like 50% of people 85 and older will be diagnosed with Alzheimer's disease. And it's the brain you bring into aging that
Yeah.
determines whether or not you're going to be dependent on the people in your life or you're going to remain like my mom, independent.
Right. It's never too early to start thinking about your brain health is what I'm hearing here. And you mentioned your mother always like having lots of family around and relationships. And I'd love to talk a little bit about that because here at at IIN, while we do certainly talk a lot about nutrition and secondary food, primary food is so important as well. Everything that's nourishing us off the plate, our relationships, our sense of purpose, our career. And I was wondering if you could speak to that a little bit and how that influences brain health, our connections, our purpose.
I think about all of my patients in what I call the whole four,
Okay.
that we have a biology, um, our brain and body. We have a psychology, our mind. We have our relationships, our connections, and our soul. Why the heck do you care? Why do you think you're on the planet? And we're in a whole four crisis. We're sicker than we've ever been, right? Half the population is diabetic or pre-diabetic. 75% of us are overweight or obese. I published 3 studies on 33,000 people. As your weight goes up, the actual physical size and function of your brain goes down. So that should scare the fat off anyone. We're in this mental health crisis. 57% of teenage girls report being persistently sad. Suicide has spiked since 2000. We're lonelier than ever. 58% of young people report being persistently lonely. So more connected, but really more disconnected.
Yeah.
And 58% of young people lack a sense of meaning and purpose. But I believe the answer to these epidemics is not to see them as separate disorders, but as different expressions of the same unhealthy lifestyle and toxic exposures that have the same cure, which is getting healthy physically, psychologically, socially, spiritually.
Right. And that's a lot of this is where health coaches can really support. And so I'd love to hear your take. We had a lot of health coaches that are here joining us tonight. Where do you see health coaches fitting into this brain health revolution?
Well, I think they can be leaders of helping people not just eat this or eat that.
Yeah.
Um, I just got off with one of my patients, and we're going to our third year of seeing each other. He's an NBA superstar. He did my podcast, and I just love him.
Yeah.
And we did the one page miracle. It's like, so what do you want?
Yeah.
Relationships, work, money, physical, emotional, spiritual health. Hey, what do you want? The whole four. I think it's the first thing coaches should do.
Yeah.
They should let go. So, what's the goal? And people go, I want to lose weight. And it's like, no, what's really the goal? Relationships, work, money, physical, emotional, spiritual health, if you feel comfortable with that. And if you don't, then just talk about meaning and purpose.
Right.
Um, what do you want? And then are your daily actions good for your brain or bad for them? And as a coach, you can actually look at the Bright Minds risk factors.
Okay.
So the idea is if you want to keep your brain healthy or rescue it, you have to prevent or treat the 11 major risk factors that I talk about in our coaching program. We have one that I'm very proud of, our elite brain health coaching program. Um, it's it's not just food, although food, probably 30% of it,
Right.
and then teaching people about their risk factors, about not believing every stupid thing they think. So getting your mind right, noticing what you like about other people way more than what you don't. Um, and why do you care? What is your sense of meaning and purpose?
I love that. And I also want to thank you for that, not believing every stupid thing that you think. That's helped me tremendously over the years. Oh, beautiful. Well, that's a tool certainly that I use. And I know, I mentioned earlier that I was hoping everyone would walk away with some tools or things that they can do to really support themselves when it comes to their brain health, to their nervous system. So, for anyone who's feeling overwhelmed, maybe burned out, exhausted, mentally exhausted, what are some things, maybe 2 to 3 tools that they can use to support themselves?
Really make sleep a priority. I
Mhm.
think that is critical. Early morning sunshine. The dermatologist won. They made us afraid of the sun, and that's why we have record low vitamin D levels. Um, Vitamin D, everyone should know their level. They should get it tested. I'm also a huge fan of testing your omega-3 fatty acid levels. Low levels are associated with inflammation and virtually every brain and mental health problem on the planet. And so I'm a huge fan of omega-3 fatty acids. A lot of people go, so why do you have a supplement company? And it's like, because I take most of these things and I want the highest quality, like our omega-3 power has got 1,400 milligrams of EPA and DHA, and it's highly purified. And I think I did a study on 50 consecutive patients, Damon clinics, who are not on fish oil, measured their level, and 49 had suboptimal levels, which goes with other research that says more than 90% of the population is deficient in omega-3 fatty acids, but they make up a lot of nerve cell membranes in your brain. And so it's absolutely essential. I think everyone should get their important numbers checked.
Mhm.
And if we think of Bright Minds, so Bright Minds is the acronym I talk about in my writings. So B is for blood flow. You should know your blood pressure. R is retirement and aging. You should know your iron and ferritin levels. If they're low, you're going to have trouble sleeping and you're going to be anxious. If they're high, you're prematurely aging. Um, I is inflammation, so C reactive protein and omega-3 fatty acids. G is genetics. I do something called the ApoE gene type in all of my patients, people who are apolipoprotein. Chris Hemsworth just came out. He was E4, which is the worst. And he actually took time off acting so he could really focus on optimizing his brain health. I just did Tim Tebow on our podcast, and he's E4 and played football. And I'm like, you need to take brain health so seriously.
Mhm.
Um, he just had a baby, and it's like, yeah, you want to be cognitively good 20 years from now. H has had trauma. How many of you had? Uh, T is toxins, how your liver functions. Why I'm not a fan of alcohol or marijuana, because they're toxic. But you
Right.
know what else is toxic? Sushi, if you're not careful, because you end up with high mercury
It's true.
levels. And I think everybody should get their heavy metals tested. Doctors Data has a good test where you just take, I don't have much hair, but let it grow out a little bit and take a teaspoon of hair and send it in for analysis. M in Bright Minds is mental health, which I think of your ACE score,
Yeah.
adverse childhood experiences on a scale of 0 to 10. How many bad things happened to you as a child? Um, but what we find in our program, the worse your childhood, the better you get. You just, for whatever reason, tend to respond to the programs we have. Um, the second I is immunity and infection. So get your vitamin D level, neurohormones. I saw a question pop up on perimenopause. Most women don't know that progesterone levels go low 10 years before you go into menopause. So if you're 40, all of a sudden you find you're not sleeping well, you're anxious and irritable. Your doctor puts you on an antidepressant, Xanax, and Ambien. And I'm like, no, maybe you should just take 100 milligrams of progesterone. But if you don't look, you don't know. If you don't measure it, you don't
Right.
know. And D is diabetes, so hemoglobin A1C, fasting blood sugar, and what's your BMI? I mean, you don't want it to be over 25. It has negative effects on your brain. So many people have lost weight because of my research on as your weight goes up, the size of your brain goes down.
Oh, yeah.
And then sleep. How many hours of sleep do you get at night? I think it's just absolutely essential. And if you snore loudly, stop breathing at night, you're chronically tired during the day, you need to be checked for sleep apnea.
Yeah. Um, this tool's gold. So everyone, I'm hearing so many things. Sleep, morning sunshine, vitamin D, omega-3s, bright minds, know your numbers because it's really important when it comes to your brain health. So that's an incredible tool.
You
Um,
asked me about three, and I gave you like 20. I'm so sorry.
no apology needed because this, like I said, this information is gold. It is so, so important for each and every one of us, for ourselves and for our clients, for those who are coaches. I do want to talk about perimenopause just a little bit more if we can, and maybe that's my own, selfish asking of this question, but what's happening to our brain during this time, and what else can we do to support ourselves? Yeah.
Well, if you're a female, you have an advantage when it comes to the brain.
Yeah.
And I hate that. I mean, I don't hate it. I have five sisters and five daughters,
Yeah.
but um, I did this monster study on 46,000 scans, and uh, um, females have healthier brains. They have more active brains. They have more brain reserve. One of
Okay.
the reasons they live longer. Um, but they're stuck with this roller coaster for many of them of what happens during your cycle, and then perimenopause and menopause, and often postpartum issues as well. When your hormones start to change, you feel differently. And so I'm very happy that Dr. McCary, when he was the commissioner of the FDA, dispelled the myth that taking bioidentical hormones is somehow bad for people. And they're essential. And you know why your hormones drop with age, Sherry? Do you know?
We know why they drop. Well, I think, well, for estrogen, the ovaries, right, are not producing as much estrogen.
But why?
Part of it. Why is that? I don't know. Is it our brain health? Is it related to stress? I'm not sure. Yeah.
No, it's the planet's way of getting rid of you.
What? Is that right?
And I'm not okay with that. And I don't think you should be okay with
I
it
don't
either.
I don't think I
So,
am. No.
doing things to optimize your hormones. And in my book, Memory Rescue and the End of Mental Illness, there's a whole chapter on hormones and what to do to support them. And sometimes replacement matters.
Yeah.
Testosterone is critical for males and females. And I didn't really want to take testosterone. So at BrainMD, we make something called Brain T Max that has ashwagandha in it, along with a couple of other things. And my testosterone levels, I'm going to be 72, are always great.
Nice. Oh, that's incredible. The comments have been really fun here. Look at it. Someone does ask,
Oh,
well,
someone asked about the N. The N is neurohormone, so you should get your
ask about
hormones
that.
checked. So cortisol, testosterone for women, estrogen, progesterone, um, thyroid, DHEA, all just really critically important numbers for you to know. And in our coaching program, we actually teach you how to coach people with all of the Bright Minds risk factors. So it's one of the big ideas. I've created a number of really big ideas, like
Right.
it's not mental health, it's brain health. If you don't look, you don't know. But I love Bright Minds because it's just so actionable
Yeah.
as a coach. It's like do the one-page miracle and then go, well, let's look at your Bright Minds risk factors, and we're going to develop a Bright Minds plan for
Mhm.
you to get serious about having a better brain. Because when you have a better brain, you have a better mind. Now, you still have to program it, right? We just published this huge study on negativity and
Ooh,
how bad negativity is for your brain. And so don't believe every stupid thing you think. Start every day with today is going to be a great day. And then I don't think you've heard me talk about the rule of 12. It's so important. My wife turned 50 8 years ago, and I took her to Paris for her 50th birthday, and we went for a couple of weeks. But I had noticed when we would travel, sometimes something would go wrong and it would sort of ruin the day. And so I'm like, we're going away for 2 weeks. 12 things are going to go wrong. Let's just promise ourselves we're not going to be upset until the 13th thing goes wrong. So I called it the rule of 12. 4 things went wrong on the trip. Nobody was upset. I loved it. I came home, I posted on Instagram the
uh,
rule of 12,
yes.
got 10 million views. And I teach it to all of my patients. It's based on this concept of psychological flexibility. The more psychologically healthy you are, well, the more you can roll with things. If you're that person that gets upset whenever something goes wrong, you're going to suffer a lot more. But you are a flexible problem solver. You have solved thousands of problems in your life, and you just don't have to be upset when bad stuff happens. And that rule has helped me so much that I teach it to everybody. And my patients, they love it because what it does is it gives them more control over their emotional life.
I'm going to take that with me too. The rule of 12. I love that so much, and I can see that others are writing in about that as well. Well, I have one more question for you, and I actually did see this question roll through in the chat too. So it's I know it's on the minds of others as well. And then we'll hop into some questions from everyone tuning in. There's a lot right now in the wellness space, a lot of conversation around optimizing brain health, optimizing wellness in general. There's you know, peptides like GLP-1s. You mentioned psychedelics earlier. I would just love your take on what you're seeing right now and what it means in the context of brain health in those areas. Yeah.
So GLP-1s are fascinating.
Yeah.
And, you know, my take is if you can get your habits right, well, you don't need them.
Right.
If you cannot get your habits right, it's much better to be on a GLP-1 than to have a BMI of 35.
Yeah.
GLP-1s have been really interesting. One of my patients yesterday told me she had no knee pain after the GLP-1, so
Yeah.
she could actually start walking. Another one said her migraines went away. So
That's
people who have chronic health conditions, it could be from the chronic inflammation. And GLP-1s are really interesting. They tend to decrease addiction, but they can increase depression. They tend to decrease the chatter, the food noise in your head. That's what Oprah said about it.
yeah.
But it can also decrease how happy you get.
I've heard that.
And so, you know, I don't really want to take one because I really like being happy. But if I was significantly overweight and I couldn't get the habits right, then it would be an option. The other peptides, it's a little early and there's a lot of excitement for something that has very little study. So I'm cautious uh, about it. Uh, we'll see.
Yeah. That makes sense. Fair. All right. Well, thank you for answering that question there. And I'm going to see if I can find the Q&A box here to find some questions for everyone. Let's see. Oh, this one's great from Carly because it does touch on something that I wanted to cover tonight as well. Carly shares, can you please talk about saffron and ADHD support, specifically related to children? Yeah, I would love to hear about that. So, supporting ADHD, I know you've described it as adrenaline deficit disorder as well, which I had never heard that before. So, I'd love anything you want to share around that and saffron for Carly.
Yeah, actually, studies on ADD and lower adrenaline, lower cortisol. So they tend to seek stress. They
Mm,
tend to seek conflict. The one of my kids has ADHD. She was the hyperactive child. And she used to run up to her brother, kick him as hard as she could, and run away laughing.
oh
And
gosh.
if he didn't go chase her, she'd go kick him again. And, you know, they can play this game called Let's Have a Problem. There are 5 studies on saffron and ADHD showing it was as helpful as Ritalin. So I think saffron, omega-3 fatty acids, decrease video games and cell phones and gadgets, increase exercise and sunshine. Those are the natural things. And, you know, I'm not opposed to medicine. I'm just opposed to that's the first and only thing you do. Um, I have my daughter's grandson who actually takes medicine, and clearly it's the difference between A's and B's and D's and F's for him. But do all the other things as well. Um, I love saffron. Our best-selling product at BrainMD is Happy Saffron. It has saffron, zinc, and curcumins. And when Khloe Kardashian held it up on a podcast I did with her and said, I've taken this every day for
Wow.
3 years, we ran out. And since then, it's been our best-selling product. But why? It works. 35 randomized controlled trials showing it's equally effective to antidepressants for mood. It also has 5 studies showing it helpful for memory. Um, and, I got interested in it about 25 years ago when an early study came out and said saffron was pro-sexual.
Mm-hmm.
Now, why does that matter? SSRIs, Prozac, Lexapro, Zoloft, Effexor, Pristiq, um, decrease sexual function. They also decrease happiness. They decrease pleasure um, and motivation. But the sexual side effect in my patients used to really bother me. It's
Yeah.
like you're depressed, and I always think about the family members of the patients I see. I don't think like you're not just my patient. I
Right.
think of your husband and your children and your parents. I think of myself really as a family psychiatrist. And if I mess up your sexual function, well, I'm messing up your husband's life. And I didn't like that.
Yeah.
And so when I saw saffron was pro-sexual, I'm like, oh. And now there's, I guess, 7 or 8 studies showing it can help with performance, it can help with um, pleasure, it can help with enjoyment. I'm like, let's see, it helps focus, mood, memory, and sex. I think I'll take it.
That's incredible. What a powerful plant. It's a beautiful plant too. I love saffron. All right. Thank you for that. Susan Guidry asks, what are some of the most effective ways adults over 50 can continue to support neuroplasticity and emotional resilience?
Well, I think the older you get, the more serious you better be about brain health, given the gravity of age. As we age, our skin falls off our face. I hate that part. But that same problem happens in the brain. And uh, so walking like you're late every day is a really good strategy. Making sure all of your Bright Minds numbers are good. If you retire, you still need to be learning new things. Or if you're in a job that does not require new learning, you need to pick up new learning somewhere. And, I worry a little bit with AI that, the world's information is literally at your fingertips. And it's going to sort of decrease cognitive load, maybe a bad thing for aging. I think it could be a good thing if you're really interacting with
Right.
AI tools. I think it'll be a really bad thing if you have it write your papers.
That's a really, really great point. And also makes me think about screens. Like I mean, this we could probably have a whole another hour conversation, but what what are our screens and social media like doing to our brains?
Well, they're clearly damaging children's
Yeah.
brains. If a child gets a cell phone before the age of 13, it increases their risk for a variety of mental health issues because they're dopamine destroyers. All the little cat videos. It's like, oh, so cute, over and over and over again. It's just dumping dopamine. And when you destroy dopamine, you destroy happiness, you destroy motivation, you destroy focus. And it just came out here in Los Angeles and also in New Mexico. Um, they whacked Meta, Google, because they purposefully created addictive gadgets for profit,
Yeah.
and they're damaging the generation. So I think monitoring your screen time is important, and hold out as long as humanly possible giving gadgets to kids.
Yeah, that's a great advice there. Great advice. Oh my goodness. All these, I see so many questions. I think we've answered them about perimenopause and menopause. So I know that was definitely a hot topic. Shannon Bowling asks, and just because I'm curious here too, sleep is so important. You mentioned that. She has, what is your nightly routine before bed? And I think if you want to elaborate, like what are some brain health habits that like are non-negotiables for you every day? And how can we get a good night's sleep? Yeah.
So you have to make it a priority. So I crawl in bed like 9 o'clock, and I have a very specific routine, which starts with flossing,
Oh,
because flossing is a brain health exercise. Gum disease is associated with brain disease.
mhm.
And so I never really cared about my teeth until I kept reading over and over again that gum disease is associated with brain disease. And then I became a flossing fool. Um, so I floss, and then when I go to bed, uh, I say a prayer of gratitude, and then I go, what went well today? And I
Yeah.
actually start at the beginning of my day. Um, and I go hour by hour, sort of through my day and my schedule, looking for what I liked about the day. And the bad things show up, but I just sort of push them away. Like, not now, I'll deal with you later, because it sets your dreams up to be more positive. And then when I wake up, I'm like, oh, today's going to be a great day, which is, so what am I looking forward to today? And it's so helpful. And I was on Jay Shetty's podcast last Monday,
Mhm.
and it was the 6th anniversary of the day my dad died. And I remember it was the worst day of my adult life. Um, and I remember when I went to bed, I went, what went well today? Why? Because it's my habit, right? You don't do what you want to do. You do whatever your habits tell you to do.
Right.
And ultimately, because it was my habit, my mind went to an interaction that was hysterical between my mother and the police officer. My dad died at home, and the police officer said, we have to do an investigation. And here is this 89-year-old woman who grieving for losing her husband. And she goes, do you think I had him killed?
Oh,
Do you think I'm having an affair and I had someone come and murder him? And I'm like, Mom, but it was hysterical. And then I thought about all the people who texted me. And then I thought about holding his hand was so soft before the mortuary took him away. And then I went to sleep. So if you do these habits during good times, you'll have them for the bad times.
sorry, that is really sticking with me. And I hope everyone here feels that too. Mm, thank you so much. Oh my goodness. I'm like, where to go from there? I feel like that was just the icing on the cake. Like when we have these positive thoughts, and I saw a question come through, how do we anchor ourselves into more positive thoughts? And that right there, I mean, that solidifies it.
What went well?
What went well? Well, I'm going to ask this. Is there anything else that, before we have a few invitations for everyone tuning in for, our courses that we really want to share and let all of you know about? But I want to ask, is there anything else you want to leave our community with, Dr. Amen?
You are here for a reason. And the reason is to make this place better. We are not here by random chance. I could never believe that. And that's why the question is what I'm doing now, good for my brain or bad for it? And does it make the world better? And it always starts with you, because every day you are modeling health or you're modeling illness with your behavior. And as I said before, it's not just about you, it's not just about me, it's about generations of us.
Yes, so powerful. It's not just about the moment, it's about the future, and we can all make a difference for our brain health today, for those that will come after us, for our clients, for our loved ones. So truly, so grateful for this conversation. Hmm. All right, everyone. I would love to know what you're walking away with. What are your takeaways? What is I know there are so many tools shared, and yes, yes, you will get the recording to the session so you can go back and listen to it again, but would love to know what is the one thing that especially stood out for you? Someone says, what went well today? Staying focused on what went well, the rule of 12. We can have control of our thoughts, the rule of 12. So many things. The rule of 12, that's really resonating with a lot of
Is
folks.
that great?
Right
I
minds.
love it.
It is.
And if people like this is why we developed our elite brain health coaching course, uh, to really put these habits in our coaches, right? If you don't live it, you can't give it.
Yeah,
But then you just get this great skill that dovetails so nicely with the IIN coaching training to bolt on to make you even more specialized, more effective. And my team sent me a note. We're giving people like 50% off, which is
ah,
crazy.
I
I don't
know. I was
know
like, is
that
that
I approve that, but apparently I did. 50% off that, um, and you get a skill. There's a licensed trainer component to it. For clinical people, there's a clinician's piece where people can earn 50 continuing education credits,
wow,
and it'll benefit you for the rest of your life and anyone you serve.
beautiful. Well, for everyone tuning in, yes, you will get this recording in an email. And I'm going to share more information about Dr. Amen, your program, and a few other things that we wanted to share here from IIN as well. So many great takeaways, by the way, that are rolling through the chat. Thank you. I can't wait to go back and read all of those. And if today's conversation sparked something in you, whether it's a desire to understand your own mental well-being better or to support others, we'd love to invite you to continue your journey with us. As a special thank you for joining us live this evening, we're excited to give you early access to our Memorial Day sale. So for a limited time, as you can see here on the screen, you can enjoy 50% off all of our enrichment and foundation courses here at IIN using code AMENWEB50. So these are courses like our gut health course, hormone health course, mindful eating course, nutrition for life, whole person health. So many incredible courses there. Whether you're whether you're ready to deepen your personal wellness journey, explore topics related to brain health and mental well-being, or expand your knowledge in a certain area, this is a wonderful opportunity to continue learning with us. And I also want to share more about what Dr. Amen was just sharing for those who feel especially inspired by today's conversation around brain health, which how could you not be? We're also excited to share Dr. Amen's Elite Brain Health Coaching Certificate course. So, this advanced certification is designed to help health coaches or wellness professionals and passionate learners like all of you deepen your understanding of brain health and apply evidence-based strategies to support focus, mood, memory, resilience, and overall mental well-being. It's an incredible opportunity to continue learning directly from Dr. Amen's groundbreaking work and methodology. And so, as we shared, as a special thank you for tuning in to this conversation today, we have that special offer of 50% off. They're May 18th, so you're right on time for that one, May 18th and July 13th cohorts for both the coaching and clinician courses using code AMEN50. And so the offer is valid through July 31st there. Dr. Amen, did you want to say anything else about that certificate or?
Um, it actually gives people a license to teach our material,
Oh, that's good.
to coach, and for clinicians to practice. So it's really my way of getting this information to as many people as possible. And the people who benefit most are the coaches who take it.
Ah, I love that. So incredible. All right. Well, if you're feeling calling, so maybe you're not a health coach here and you're feeling called to perhaps support others within that realm and within that scope, and you want to take a deeper dive into holistic health and coaching. Of course, IIN's flagship health coach training program brings together nutrition, lifestyle, and integrative wellness principles, including many of the concepts that we explored today to help you create meaningful change in your own life and in the lives of others. So through the program, you'll learn from leading experts and visiting faculty like Dr. Amen, while gaining practical tools to help clients through a truly integrative and holistic lens. So for a limited time, when you enroll in our May 26th class, you'll receive a $2,000 tuition grant. So you don't need a code for that, and that offer is available for a limited time. So if you're curious to learn more, we encourage you to book a consultation. It's a free consultation with our team of admissions experts to further explore the program and to ask any questions that you may have. So you can use that QR code there. And I believe we're also dropping some links in the chat for you. And this information will also all be sent in an email following this session. So you can also download, excuse me, our curriculum guide for a deeper look into the course structure, career outcomes, and student experience. And our support team will again be dropping both links in the chat. And you are also welcome to scan the QR codes on the screen. All right. We also encourage you to visit our events page to explore and register for upcoming conversations and community events that may support you on your wellness journey. Events such as this one. All right, everyone. This was a power hour. So much incredible information. Dr. Amen, thank you so much. Thank you for being
Jerry, so great to see you again. Thank you,
Yes,
everybody.
yes. So grateful for you. Uh, As Dr. Amen says, a healthy brain is a connected brain. And we are so happy to be connected to each and every single one of you. So, a big thank you to everyone for tuning in. We are so deeply grateful that you chose to spend your time with us. We hope to see each and every one of you at another IIN event soon or to see all of you in class. We cannot wait. So be well. Have a wonderful evening or afternoon or day, everyone. You are so welcome. Take care. Until next time.